Hey guys, welcome back. So today we're out at the range with some brand new armor. Now before we click off the video, this is not your standard RMA armor. This is a new type of armor. And so we're going to go into the details of it, but just at a high level, this plate, this is a sappy cut plate, and it's based on ceramics, but it has a new threat level, and it's called RF2+. And you can see that back here, and it's a relatively new threat level that the NIJ came up with, and this is kind of a stopgap to go between level 3 and level 4 armor. And so it's kind of, people have been calling it level 3+, but we'll talk a little bit about that. But this plate is based on the ceramics that we know and trust, but it's only 0.75 of an inch thick, less than an inch thick. This is the sappy cut, a little heavier. It's going to offer a little more protection than the shooter's cut. This one's 5.9 pounds. The shooter's cut is going to be about 5.3 pounds. So you're going to get protection against most of the most common armor-piercing ammunition rounds out there, especially if you're in law enforcement or if you're, a civilian and you're setting up for, kind of shiznit hits the fan type situation. This is going to give you that stopgap. So it's going to give you more protection level 3, not quite as much as level 4. And we'll see if we can figure out where those boundaries are in today's video. So for our testing today, whoops, we'll just go ahead and throw that on the dirt. We're going to start off with the A2 here. This is an H&R A2 with a 20-inch barrel, and we have some green tip M855 and some M855A1. All right, so I don't have any of the Russian armor-piercing ammo, the 7.62x39 or the 7.62x54R. But anyway, so we're going to do this with the A2, and then we're going to step it up to black tip 30-06, and we're going to do that with the 1903 A3 Springfield, and that should you let us know what a 308 M80 ball AP round might do, or what a 7.62x54R might do, or something like that. All right, so that'll be our big bore test. It should be able to stop that. And then if it passes all these tests, we're going to step it up even further. We're going to take a new 113 grain high pressure 6.8x51 cartridge fired out of this SIG Cross rifle. And the plate, I can almost guarantee you, is not rated for this, probably hasn't been tested with this. And this ammo is vicious. We did a gel test with it. It did some crazy stuff. It's a really powerful cartridge. So it'll be interesting to see if it actually stops it. So let's get started with our video today and take a closer look at the RMA RF2+ armor. A lot of folks ask me, how can I get involved in the firearms business in that particular community? And one of the best ways to do that is to become a gunsmith. Every gunsmith I know is just overbooked with work. It's a very good living. And so if you would like to become a gunsmith, you need to go to a gunsmithing school or become an apprentice for an existing gunsmith. But Modern Gun School is an accredited college that also works with veterans in the GI Bill, where you can go and get a degree from accredited college in gunsmithing and then go out and start your own gunsmithing business, which I think is a really great option. Again, throughout my entire life, gunsmiths have always been able to earn a really good living, assuming they have a really strong work ethic. So please check out Modern Gun School. I do have a link in the video description below. All right, so we have our armor plate strapped to this challenge steel target. Now we do listen to you guys. We read the comments, and the last time we did an armor test video, we had it sitting in a chair, and the chair rocked back when the round hit the plate, and you guys commented, well, that motion's absorbing the energy, it's not a fair test. So we weighed our options. We could have taped this to a tree, but we thought, oh, what the heck, we'll just tape it to his face instead, because we typically wear armor on our face. We don't. It's a joke. But anyway, so that's just to get it up high enough off the ground. So this is our test. Hopefully you're happy. I will be if it passes. So we're going to get this party started with the 1903 A3 Springfield. We're going to shoot some black tip armor piercing ammunition. And we're 15 yards away from our target. All right, so I'm going to aim at the top of the RMA logo. It's probably going to hit just a little low of that because of how close we are at the 15-yard mark. And here we go. Right in the tape and right on top of the logo. All right, let's go down and take a look at it. Well, I do believe that Gorilla Tape really holds. It stopped it. So that's the backing, and it hit the steel plate and stopped there. But you can see the bulge in the ceramics. You can see the fiber there that I had to pull out. So it did stop it. but it mushed up against that steel. All right, we're gonna have to tape this back up and try it again. We'll try our next shots down here. Before we get started with our next test, I just want to talk a little bit about the RF2 Plus Armor. So this is from the RMA website. The XRT designation is Extreme Rifle Threat. That's what XRT stands for. And so the RF2, it competes with level 4 RF3. The XRT, I'm reading from their website, again, also stands up to multiple impacts of M855A1, 762x39 API-BZ, and M80A1. It even defeats the 762x54 RB32 API, taking it far beyond traditional level 3 plus or RF2 body armor plates. And keep in mind, it's RF2 plus. All right. And so what do you get from all that? Well, it should stop all the basic threats out there. And if you don't need to carry a full SAPI plate, a traditional SAPI plate that's going to be heavier and thicker, then this will probably work for you. Now, we've seen products like this in the past where they're basically the same size and weight as a handgun armor plate, if you will, but they're rated for low-end rifle. This takes it a step further and would appear that it's capable of stopping actual rifle threats, not just certain intermediate cartridges like 762x39. It actually says it can stop M80A1. So that is a bridge there between level 2 plates, level 3 plates, I should say level 3 plates and level 4 plates. So that's pretty interesting. Now, these things are on the RMA website right now, are on sale for $199. I don't know how long that sale is going to last, but as of this recording, that's what the price on these plates are. So let's get set up with the next test. We've already done the big boy. Well, not quite the biggest boy. We did the 30-06 black tip. Let's do some M855 and M855A1 out of a 20-inch barrel A2. So keep in mind, ceramic type plates are intended to stop multiple hits, but not to the exact same spot. So when you have a ceramic plate and a bullet hits it, around that area where the bullet impacts, the ceramic shatters, and it's no longer effective at stopping that ballistic threat. So when you're doing multiple round testing, you have to hit different areas of the plate. If 2 rounds hit in the exact same spot, that second round is probably going through the armor plate. All right, with that being said, the /06 was up top. We're using the same plate. Now, keep in mind, the ceramic may have fractured going down, and so it's going to weaken that ceramic potentially. So the question is, does it weaken it so much that it will actually cause M855 and M855A1 to defeat it? Well, that's what we're about to find out. Let me grab my ears here really quick. And we'll start off with M855 green tip. I'm going to put the A1 on the bottom so it'll feed second. Put the M855 on top. And as long as that stays strapped up there, we'll hit both rounds before we go down range and check. If the tape breaks and the plate falls, we'll reset the test and come back and fire the second round. All right, so first round, I'm going to go low left. I'm going to aim at the left side of the RMA Armor logo and a little low, and here we go. All right, it held, and so we're going to go over to the right, same location, just the opposite side of the plate with the M855A1. All right, so let's go down range and check this out. All right, it stopped both of them. I can feel back there. You can see the ceramic falling out. That stuff is very sharp, dude. You don't want to touch that stuff. Don't pick it up or play with it. It's extremely sharp. But you can see, here's where the 30-06 AP, now keep in mind, it did stop it. It's arched, it's curved, and it went into that curve where it had a bit of an air gap and pushed the plate back into it and made that ding sound we heard, but it did not, there's no hole there. I stuck a knife in it. There's no hole there. It did not make it through. All right, that's just blunt trauma from the plate impacting the steel plate. Back here, you can see less penetration from both the M855 and the A1. Look at those cavernous holes inside there. But back face deformation, you'll definitely want to wear some sort of material back here. There's pads available that you can wear that will help deal with that back face deformation. FBI says if you go like, I think it's 2 inches, I could be wrong on that, it can actually be fatal. So back face deformation is one of those things you definitely want to concern yourself with if you're trying to stop rifle threats. So wearing a pad back there is optional. I would probably do it if I was using these plates. Impressive that it stopped all three of these. All right, maybe I put the 6.8x51 right there, and if it defeats it, then I have one more plate, and maybe we'll take a second shot with a fresh plate and see if it stops it, because I'm really curious if it can defeat the 6.8x51, the new hot rod in the U.S. military inventory. All right, so the test I'm really looking forward to, we have the same body armor panel down there that we've hit 3 times already. We're going to now put one of these 6.8x51s right in the middle of those 3 impacts. Now, if this defeats it, we have one more plate sitting right here. We'll tape up there and see if a fresh plate can stop this threat or not. Let's talk about the threat. So we have a SIG Cross here. This is a 20-inch barrel in this rifle. Same length as the A2 sitting over there. Now, when we chronograph M855 out of the A2, we got 3,075 feet per second out of that 20-inch barrel. Now, M193, some Winchester stuff, that was doing a full 3,300 feet per second out of that 20-inch barrel. And so this is a 6.8x51. Not an AP round. Again, those are classified still and not something you can buy. But this is one of the hottest rounds we've tested in the 6.8x51. It's the high pressure. You can tell by the multi-part case. It's a 113 grain solid copper. And we've clocked this thing at literally 3,300 feet per second. And that means at 113 grains, it's just a little over twice as heavy as an M193 ball round, a 55 grainer, but doing the same velocity. All right, so that's a lot of energy. All right, so let's go ahead and see if it'll stop this threat. Well, I definitely heard the ping of steel. Let's go see what happened. Let's go ahead and clear this out. All right. Now, keep in mind, guys, it is not intended to stop that threat, okay? We're going well past its test boundaries. So it should be interesting to see. Okay, it did not stop it. Now, that's copper. So this is the difference between this hit and this hit. That's the bullet. It's still hot. So it made it through, and that's the bullet that made it through. All right, not surprising. That is a very hot cartridge. And again, this plate is not rated for that. It stopped everything it was rated to stop and multi-hit. So with that being said, I'm still curious if it'll stop that 6.8x51 on a fresh plate. So let's go ahead and tape up a fresh plate and try one more time. All right, just to be crystal clear, the plate stopped M855, M855A1, and 30-06 black tip AP. So it did its job. What we're doing here is pushing the boundaries. Now, because it failed the 6.8x51 on a multi-hit plate already, we put a fresh plate up. Again, it is not rated for this. So by failing a test like this, it doesn't mean the armor is bad. The armor is really good. It stops exactly what it says it's going to stop. I just like to go past what those ratings are, because many times we've found with other plates that are like Sappy 4s that they say 30-06 black tip, but we've actually stopped much more powerful cartridges like 300 Win Mag and things like that. So that's why we do this. So one more round just to see if it's going to make it through. Now, what's interesting is by looking at that other plate that had been hit 3 times previously before the 6.8 impacted, looks like that bullet had some velocity. It was going to go through with some. It still had some ass to it. That bullet was really cruising, right? So it came through on the backside and deformed. It's solid copper and just mushed itself into the AR-500 steel plate behind it. So it's going to be interesting to see what a fresh plate with no fractures or cracks in that ceramic is going to accomplish. All right, here we go. I heard a ding again. Let's go ahead and make the weapon safe. I'm guessing the 6.8x51 is just too powerful. And keep in mind, guys, the whole purpose of 6.8x51, well, one of the key purposes, I should say, is that it could stop armor threats, or it could penetrate armor, I should say. It's very difficult to stop the 6.8x51, especially in its armor-piercing load, which this is not. But again, that solid copper is a very tough bullet to stop. And guys, it looks like it stopped it. This Gorilla Tape. It stopped it, folks. It stopped it. All we had to do is hit a fresh plate. Wow. I did not expect that. I did not expect that. All right. So it will go far past what it's rated for, and that's comforting to know. Now, if I would have hit this several more times with 6.8 by 51, obviously I've cracked that ceramic in there, and chances are it's not going to stop a second or third hit. We pretty much know that now. But if you're still standing around after one hit waiting for the next one, you probably should have your head checked. All right, so the RMA Armor, this RF2 Plus, what do I think of it? Well, it's impressing me mostly because it actually stopped a threat that's well above what it's rated to stop. So the RF2 Plus, definitely as RMA is producing it, does serve a very unique purpose. You can drop that weight of your SAPI plate by a couple of pounds and still stop the most common threats out there and some uncommon threats like the 6.8 by 51. So many times people will go out and buy SAPI plates because that's what the military generally uses. They're big, they're heavy, they're thick. But do you really need that extra bulk and weight? Well, judging by the performance of this RF2 Plus armor, no. For my own personal use, I would be perfectly fine using these plates. Now, RMA Armor, we've tested a lot of their products in the past, and they've always performed exactly as they state they will, but oftentimes, I think every time, including this time, they've exceeded what their published ratings were. So I think that's pretty darn cool. Here's the 30-06 black tip where it went in. That was the first round we'd fired. M855 green tip, M855 A1. And yes, this is real A1. In one of our previous videos, somebody goes, "Oh, is that the fake stuff?" Like, how in the world would you fake that? No, it's real. And then this is the 6.8 by 51, but that did make it through. Just to show you guys what that looks like again. There's that copper bullet. It made it through, and the copper bullet hit that AR-500 behind it and just mushed out and left us that little gold dot. Over here, fresh plate, 6.8 by 51, 15 yards for all these tests. And once again, it did not make it through. So right now, again, as of this recording, $199 for the plate, and that's actually a really good price for armor that is lightweight and thin. Again, less than an inch thick. It's not buoyant, it's not like that type of armor, but it's still lightweight, and it should go nicely on your kit. If you guys have any questions about this RMA Armor, of course, you can go to their website and ask them, or you can post your comments down below. I do try to stick around for the first couple of days after we post a new video to answer any questions you guys may have. Also, right here on YouTube, you have a little button underneath the video player you're watching right now. You got the thanks button, the support button. Either one of those buttons, if you click them, will help support us right here on YouTube in the age of demonetization. Another option is our Patreon family. There is a link to our Patreon page in the video description below. Thank you for 17 years of support. Swing by, check out Copper Custom, and we'll talk to you guys soon.